Hello friends, I welcome you once again to the AFOSOP video tutorial series, a presentation by the Academy for Life Skills Development. Today, the topic on which we are going to discuss is perception management of candidates for improved selection. Now, in this video, I'm not going to give you anything SSB specific in terms of TAT, WAT or something like that, but I'll give you a generic view as to why there is so much of confusion in the SSB and what needs to be done. Now, if you look at this figure, two people looking at the same situation, one says it is 6, the other says it is 9. Who is right? Both are right. Only thing is they have different perception. So we'll understand that through this presentation. Now, this is a letter from Army Headquarters, and it has been written to all commands of the Army Headquarters. And the topic of this letter is perception management of candidates for improved selection. And if you see in the para 2A, the Armed Forces Officers Selection Orientation Program, AFOSOP, as a counter to the conventional SSB coaching centers, those rote memory based concepts on which we have mushrooming coaching centers all across. So AFOSOP has been taken as a counter to them, and the para 2B, it says assisted introspection for non-recommended candidates. So this is today not only for non-recommended candidates, even for fresh candidates this is today relevant. And in the para 3.3, these concepts are available on the internet, and they can be watched at YouTube by typing AFOSOP. And I'm sure many of you are already watching that, and there are almost 90 plus videos already existing there. And I propose that if I get sufficient feedback from all of you and encouragement in terms of comments, I want to make it to 200 by the end of this year, that is double it, and by the end of another 1 year maybe I'll take it to 500, but that all depends upon how much feedback I get, which is a source of motivation for me. Now there is another letter from Director DIPR. His name is Dr. Manas K. Mandal. He is outstanding scientist and ex-director, Defense Institute of Psychological Research. And in the para 2 he writes, I appreciate your concepts, the Armed Forces Officers Selection Orientation Program and assisted introspection. So there also I mentioned perception management of candidates. So there is a requirement that the perception of these candidates, SSB candidates, has to be managed. That means there is something problem, there is some distortion. So we'll see where is that distortion coming and how it has to be done. So today we'll discuss on this topic, perception management of candidates for improved selection. Specifically we are referring to SSB candidates. Now here is a letter, not a letter, a blog, and in fact an article, and this article is shortage of over 9,000 officers in the Indian Army, Navy and Air Force. This is by Lieutenant General Mukesh Sabharwal, retired ex-adjutant general. In fact, I have given this presentation before him also, and in case you want to read the complete article, it is given on the link which is provided below. Now this is the nutshell. The article says the Air Force has a deficiency of 5%, Navy has got 21%, and Army has got 23% deficiency. The authorized strength of the Army is 47,762, whereas it is only holding 36,790. Now this is phenomenally a huge gap in a country like India. We are going to surpass China. So what is this problem because of which we are not able to meet, whereas we have overflooding of candidates in the SSB? We got stage 1 huge rejection, yet we are not able to make it. Is it that the candidates don't have potential, or do you think that the candidates are not interested in joining? The various reasons. Now the second paragraph, another paragraph says the questions that merit immediate attentions are: 1, the extent of this shortage; 2, implications on operations of the Army; 3, the reality check on the intake; and 4th, the reasons for the continuous deficiency; and finally the suggested approach to address it. Now today in this part I shall cover one dimension of the reason for the continuous deficiency. Now see, people at the top, DIPR director, or maybe adjutant general, recruiting directorate, equivalent from the Army, Navy, Air Force, these are two big commandant of the selection. There's huge people, big people discussing about deficiency from very top, but there are issues that are very, very fundamental at the ground level, which probably is getting missed. In fact, I have given this presentation in multiple levels, including AG thrice and selection center multiple times, to show that the grassroots, what are the problem which is probably getting ignored because somewhere the root is missed. in the entire process. So let me continue. So this is an advertisement by the army. Do you have it in you? A very powerful advertisement. It asks a question to the candidate. Do you have it in you? Now the word "it" is very important. It's an army advertisement, but it's equally popular amongst Air Force and naval candidates. Do you have it in you? And everybody feels or claims they have it in them without really realizing what is this "it." Now this organization asks this question, do you have it in you? But when you go to the SSB claiming that you have it in you and you don't get recommended, implying you don't have it in you, and then you ask the person who announces the board conference result, invariably a psychologist, sir, please tell us where should we improve so that we can come better prepared next time. The answer you get is, it's confidential, will not tell you. What does it mean? The organization who has asked this question to the candidates, do you have it in you? When a candidate is not recommended, implying he does not have it in him, the organization who has asked this question is not willing to give the answer. What is this "it" that they are looking for? That means now this candidate is in a fix. He has been not recommended because he does not have it, but he does not know what is that "it." And now this is where the role of coaching centers comes. Many certified coaching centers, great coaching centers, they claim, everybody claiming to be number one. And what are they doing? They are now trying to explain to the candidates what is this "it" that the organization is looking for. Now, since they do not have a direct stake in the organization, they have already left the organization. Many of them were already earlier SSS. Some of them are not even SSS. They are just doing it because they have to handle young people. They can always fool around with them. So the responsibility of explaining the "it" has been taken over by the private coaching centers, and who have claimed themselves to be number one doing that. But the issue, since they are now private, there is money involved to explain what is this "it." Anyway, that is also fine. Now, as long as they are able to explain this "it" in a realistic manner, that is perfectly fine. But unfortunately, they don't do that. Because they don't do that, what is happening is the candidates are not able to understand the gap which they have to fill before they go for the SSB, whether it is in terms of SSB or whether in terms of personality development. See, SSB is a personality development selection. And when you go to a coaching center, your job is to identify the areas which are deficient in your personality and build it up. So that's a gap. So there's an expected performance, there's a present level performance, and this you can only do it by a process of introspection, inward looking, self-reflection. So that's the job of the coaching center, and they must identify this gap and tell you, and then tell you the methodology how to fill it up. As long as they are doing that, fantastic. And for this job, they are very well legitimate in charging their money. After all, there are private institutions, and since government is not doing it, so private people are doing it. That's perfectly fine. But unfortunately, this is what they are doing. We already have seen this picture many times. So this, I call it Malmooth training. This is not the way people have to introspect. They are trying to teach the candidates how to fool the system, how to crack the SSB. That's not the aim. Their job was to tell what is it that the organization is looking for. And since this method is there, now this confuses the candidate. Anyway, so the result of this entire Malmooth training is that there is total confusion. What does total confusion means? Look at the way the candidates have been trained. Mera SD rat lo, I agree with you. Training on 100% GTO. Let's give him a chance. Let's crack SSB. OLQ ko ratta maro. Let's cooperate. Load nahi uthana. Psychologist tattu hota hai. Left dekho, right dekho. Leadership aise hota hai. Pinky ponky karo. है ना, 500 रुपए का ग्रुप डिस्काउंट देंगे. टाइम इज रनिंग आउट. लेट्स डू समथिंग. लेट्स कॉपरेट. है ना, आगे से उठाओ, पीछे से दबाओ. This is the way GTO का ट्रेनिंग होता है. चार्ली काटने की ट्रेनिंग कुल मिला के. You understand this word? I've used it so many times. Charlie in Hindi is Charlie Appa. So this is completely Charlie काटने का training, and the candidate is totally confused. Now, when I look at this entire process of training by these private SSB coaching centers, many of them, मुझे एक छोटा सा poem याद आता है इस उल्लू को देखकर. बर्बादे गुलिस्ता करने को बस एक ही उल्लू काफी था. बर्बादे गुलिस्ता करने को बस एक ही उल्लू काफी था. हाले गुलिस्ता क्या होगा, यहां तो हर शाख में उल्लू बैठा है. यहां तो हर शाख में उल्लू बैठा है. That's the way the SSB coaching center is today. Everybody claiming to be number one and गुलिस्ता को बर्बाद करने में लगे हुए. Whatever you understood, they're completely damaging the psychology or the natural thinking process of the candidate by feeding them a lot of things. Load नहीं उठाना, ये करना, brigadier वाले idea देना GTO में, colonel वाले idea देना. What is this Brigadier Wala idea? What is this Colonel Wala? Young boys and girls, powerful youth energy. This energy can neither be destroyed nor be, created. It can only be channelized. And a concentrated mind is like a laser beam. Instead of doing this, unko completely gumrah kar rahe ho. In the name of giving them direction, completely gumrah karna. This is the way unfortunately the entire coaching center is built up. Anyway, so that's where the perception gap. So what is this SSB looking for, and what is this candidate getting trained for? There is a huge gap because there are two agencies involved. One, the government agency, who says our job is to do only assessment. Our job is not to guide them. And there is a private agency people who have a vested interest of money. They say their job is to train them. So instead of developing them, what are they doing with that? So because of which there's a gap coming in terms of understanding of the SSB. So we are talking about the candidate and the way he's perceiving the SSB. And so two things that has to be studied is, what is the candidate perception of SSB and how is organization perceiving it? And secondly, in case of candidate, who is responsible for building this perception, faulty perception in them? This has to be identified and fixed. Unless this is fixed, this deficiency cannot be filled. Now that was the argument that I used to present. Now to understand this, I'll use this picture. Now look at this. The cat and the small child, both of them are looking at the same object or the same situation, fish in the pond. But the way they are perceiving it is completely different. The child is happy as long as the fish is swimming inside the bottle or the jar, and the cat will be happy when the fish is inside its stomach. So same situation, the way they are perceiving is completely different. And that's why the very simple basic definition of perception is a process by which individuals organize and interpret their sensory impressions in order to give meaning to their environment. तो आप किस तरह से अपने environment को meaning देते हो, that is completely dependent upon the way you perceive the event. So हिंदी में कहावत है, जैसी दृष्टि वैसी सृष्टि. So अगर आप अपने दृष्टिकोण को चेंज कर देते हो, तो वही सृष्टि आपको दूसरी तरह से लगेगा. The same person, event and situation will change its meaning if you can change your attitude towards it. So let's see it from a more deeper perspective. Using the same analogy, when you look at the SSB, there are two sides of it. One is the organizational perspective, the way organization, DIPR, Army, Navy, Air Force and Coast Guard views it. And second is the way the candidate views it. Candidate may be recommended candidate अपनी तरीके से देखता है, non-recommended अपने तरीके से देखता है, and then built up by the coaching centers and the plethora of information that is today available through the internet. No source credibility. Everybody, कोई लूला लंगड़ा सब उसमें छापते हैं. कोई क्रैक SSB बनाकर डालता है, कोई पता नहीं क्या डाल रहा है. मतलब there is so much of information overload, but there is no credibility of it. So there is a huge perception gap. Look at this picture on the left and bottom corner. Pawn hai lekin lagta main raja hu. That's the way it is. People are ignorant. There is so much of confidence flowing in the candidate out of the ignorance. Murkhata ka ek alag hi confidence hota murkhon ka. So that kind of a confidence, because they don't know what is the reality. And this perception gap is also the business potential for people like me who are involved in coaching. This gives tremendous opportunity to create money. The bigger the gap, bigger the money. So the existence of this perception gap may not be good for the organization, DIPR and the army and the candidates, but it is definitely desirable for the people who are involved in coaching like me. Bigger the gap, bigger the money. Because organization claims we will only ask, do you have it in you? It is people like us who have taken the responsibility to clear it. So that's the opportunity for us to make money. So people like me who are in the system, sometimes without in the system, we have started #1 coaching centers and doing a lot of things, claiming that we will bridge this perception gap. Come, we are the best. Come here, we will tell you what's this SSB looking for. What is this? Do you have it in you? कुछ लोग बोलते साइड टट्टू होता है, कुछ बोलते हैं अरे तेरे पीए को पिंकी पोंकी करना पड़ेगा, क्या करना पड़ेगा, लेफ्ट देखो, राइट देखो. Look at the way the training is happening. It's completely disastrous. Anyway, now to understand this perception gap a little more deeper, you'll have to listen to a story. I'm a storyteller. I like storytelling because that's a powerful medium of communication. Now, in your youth, you would have heard a story: 6 blind men and an elephant. An elephant. So 6 blind men wanted to know how does an elephant actually feel like, since they could not see. So these are the 6 blind men, and they felt the elephant at different places, and depending upon which part of the elephant they were in contact, they perceived the elephant to be different things. So the first person felt elephant was like a snake, the second felt that elephant was like a spear, the third felt that elephant was like a big fan, the fourth felt that the elephant was like a tree trunk, and the fifth felt that elephant was like a wall, and the last person who touched the tail, he felt that elephant was like a piece of rope. Now the point is, they were all right in their own perception, because their experience and what they are now experiencing, their past experience, when they relate, they are perfectly fine. So there is a quote, it says, we see things not as they are, we see things as we are. And this is where the perception gaps comes, and there is an objective reality and there is a subjective reality. These are the two sides of anything, any coin. So any coin will have two sides. Similarly, there are two sides. So even SSB has two sides. So an elephant, which is an objective elephant, has become extremely subjective when these blind men experience it from their own perception. Now if you recreate the elephant based on these people's perception, so our original elephant turns into this. Now this definitely is not the actual elephant. This is not an objective elephant. This is a subjective elephant. So our actual elephant has now become this, because there was a lot of perception gap. Now this is okay as far as the story goes, 6 blind men and the elephant or whatever. Now question is, what happens if this is the perception that the candidates are holding? If the actual elephant was the way SSB is perceived by the organization, and the one to the right is the way candidates are perceiving, then there is a huge problem. I hope you understand kya bol raha hu. Organization is perceiving the elephant which is on the left, but the candidates, because of the blindness, they are perceiving, I call it Gandharya. So an elephant which has been created by Gandharya. Why? Because of perception gaps. So this is a problem. Now when you go to the SSB, which elephant are you referring to, or which SSB are you preparing for? So the elephant on the left, the clarity of this is given by the DIPR, and this has been created by the coaching centers and the internet resources and the books, whichever source, all the recommended candidate, all the non-recommended candidate, whatever your source, they have created it. And the one on the left, it is in the interest of organization. DIPR has got the complete technical control. Is SSB mein, even if one pin has to move, it has to be cleared by the DIPR. So DIPR has got the technical control, and they are doing everything in the interest of the organization. Whereas these number 1 ISO certified coaching centers, they are private agencies, and they have a personal interest, and there is a personal interest. So there is a clash of interest. These two people are not aligned. One has an organizational interest, best cadet for the armed forces. The other has got nothing to do with best or worst. It is Lakshmi must come. The second category is only worried about flow of Lakshmi in the name of, number 1 SSB coaching and all those things. So there is a conflict. Anyway, let's see it further. So when you go to the SSB, which SSB are you preparing for? The actual, or the one which is perceived or created by the perception of the people who have vested interest? You look at the bottom corner, right bottom corner. Which SSB are you going for? The one which SSB organization is looking for, or the one which has been created by people with vested interest? Anyway, the organization calls it the SSB. What do you mean by that? He is the president of 21 SSB. He was the GTO of 21 SSB. Now I was the GTO in 21 SSB. Whereas a candidate calls it that my SSB was at Allahabad. He was my GTO. He was my interviewing officer. So what is the difference between the SSB and my SSB? Have you understood what I've said? Organization says he is the GTO of 21 SSB, whereas the candidate says he is my GTO. There is a difference between the SSB and my SSB. To understand this, let's listen to another story. Once there were these two brothers, Lord Ganesha and Kartikeya. Ganesha is the scribe of storytellers and Kartikeya is the warlord of gods. One day, these two brothers decided to go for a race. And what was the condition? To go around the world 3 times, and whoever does it first, he wins. So when the race was started, Kartikeya immediately leapt on his peacock. And he went around the mountains, he went around the continent, he went around the ocean, he went around once, he went around twice, he went around thrice. Now all this while, Ganesha kept sitting there doing nothing, just playing with his mouse, mice, eating laddu. And just before Kartikeya was to finish his 3rd round, Ganesha got up and went on over his parents 1, twice, thrice, and he said, I won. Kartikeya said, what bullshit? How did you win? You didn't do anything. I went around the world. And you say you won. How? Kaise jeete tum? Ganesha says, listen to the answer very carefully. Ganesha says, brother, you went around the world and I went around my world. Look at the word. You went around the world and I went around my world. What matters? Both matters. One is objective reality, other is subjective reality. To understand the difference between my world and the world, let's look at this. The world is objective. It is logical, it is universal, it is factual, it is science. It talks about how of any system, how the sun rises. Whereas my world is subjective. It is emotional, it is personal, it is belief, it is myth, it is perception. It talks about why the sun rises. So one talks about how the sun rises, science. The other talks about why the sun rises. And that's where the gap comes. Head and tail. Unless you understand both the sides, you will be partially knowing it. जब तक आपको सिक्के के दोनों पहलू नहीं पता चलेंगे, you will not understand. On the same analogy, when you say the SSB, it is objective, it is scientific, it is reality, systematic, rational, logical, non-emotional and professional, and it talks about how of the system. Whereas my SSB is subjective, emotional, perception, myth, belief, dreams, fantasy, irrational, illogical, faith, trust, passion, desire. It talks about why of the system. I don't know, आप लोगों को समझ में आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा. These are 2 dimensions that you have to understand. And this is you preparing for the head side of the SSB or the tail side of the SSB. What is your coaching center doing with you? And the worst thing is, this is what the SSB is expecting, that they are looking for certain critical skills in you, decision-making skills, problem-solving skills, interpersonal skills, and a level of intellectual awareness where you can communicate at a intellectually fulfilling manner. They are not only looking at your capacity to have grown in the physical sense, also your intellectual sense, emotional sense, psychological sense, moral sense. Now these things, it is like I have already told you, it's like your inner judgment, inner code. How do you process information? This is what they are looking for. Officers like quality. In case if it exists, they will manifest in your decision making. Whether it's TAT, WAT, SRT, TAT Part 5, Karan ne Harpreet ka rape kar diya or usko sex kiya. That's a decision. Why this decision was taken? Why Shikha locked herself into the room? And this is what they are looking for. Your personality. Behavior is a function of your personality interacting with the given environment. So your value system, your belief system, your attitude. But what you're being taught by the number one coaching centers is TAT kaise likhna, WAT kaise likhna, isko rat lo, SD likh lo. This is what your father thinks. है ना, side tattu hota hai, pinky ponky karo apne PIQ mein, left dekho, right dekho. No. ब्रिगेडियर वाला आइडिया, कर्नल वाला आइडिया, ऑफिसर बनना है तो उसको रट लो, सवाल मत पूछो. सवाल पूछोगे तो मुझे गुस्सा आ जाएगा क्योंकि मुझे भी जवाब नहीं आता. बस ऑफिसर बनना है, ऐसे लिखो. No, that's completely illogical. I don't know whether I'm making sense or not. That's completely illogical. Look at these people who are looking at this candidate in the conference room. Are they looking at your capacity to memorize facts and figures? Are they looking for your capacity to do chamatkar with this? TAT, WAT जो इनके कोचिंग सेंटर्स ने पिछले 25 साल से बना के रखे हुए printed notes. No, they are not looking for your capacity to memorize facts and figures or this ready-made ratta. They are looking at your capacity to analyze problem, to evaluate problem, to create options, to select the best decision, to implement, to mobilize resources, to effectively communicate. interpersonal skills, your conflict resolution skills, a lot of things they're looking for. इन सबको डेवलप ना किए बिना आप पता नहीं क्या करके वहां जाते हो, तुम्हें ही नहीं पता what are you doing, then how the hell do you think that next time when you go you will be able to improve them? You can only improve them when you're aware what to improve. I hope I'm making sense. So that's where my role comes and my research comes. So I was ex-GTO 21 SSB, 11 SSB, and during that period when I was doing this project, I used to call myself Perception Manager, Indian Armed Forces. Perception Manager. So I had to manage this perception, head and tail, dono side dikhana candidate ko. So I have done a lot of work on that, and let me tell you one more thing. As part of this research, now I'm revealing a secret. I have myself as a major, young major, I have taken 2 coachings, once from Chandigarh and once from this place, Delhi, to know what are these coaching centers doing. And I've got photographs of the place along with those directors and all that. So at suitable time if required, I'll publish that too, to tell you that I have done a lot of work in what I'm doing. ये कोई सट्टा नहीं मार रहा हूं मैं. Yes, I have actually taken as a major 2 coachings, telling them that I'm going for SEO entry and PCSL करके गोली दे के आया था. Like a duffer, I used to sit in the class so that nobody, come to know. I was scared कि मुझे कोई पुराना candidate ही ना पहचान ले. So I've done a lot of things. I have done a lot of research before I'm speaking. And at appropriate time, I'll make them available to you. So all the notes that you have, I also have, by the way. Anyway, I have my own key results area. What are the key results area? 1, to bridge the perception gap. इस gap को भरना, head और tail को दिखाना, दोनों side को. Unless you see that, you will not know what are you expected to do. Second is align the candidate's behavior with your belief system. Today what is happening is belief system is something, but you're changing it so that the SSB gets impressed and takes you. That will not happen. If you find there are certain beliefs or attitudes inside your value system inside you, like Karan Harpreet, which are detrimental to your SSB selection, you must identify them, correct it. So to align your behavior with your belief system. Next is to bring awareness to the environment. You may be a good driver, but if your glasses are greased, you cannot see. So my job is to clean it. Instead of cleaning, if I start coating it, you will become worse. That's why many times you would have seen people saying, don't go for coaching center, they'll spoil you. They will spoil you because they'll make it worse. They're true. And last is to convert your scalar effort into vector effort. What does scalar effort means? It only has magnitude, but it has no direction. So my job is to act like a lighthouse. And what does a lighthouse do? It just shows the direction. It is the responsibility of the ship, in this case the candidate, to align and to move. I cannot claim success. And people are saying 9 success in selection rate in the stage 1. And stage 2 में 70%. पता नहीं क्या बोल 45%. एक तो बोलता 95%. सेलम का एक कोचिंग सेंटर है, सेलम, तमिलनाडु. They say 95% selection rate in stage 1. What? Whom are they fooling? Why don't you verify it? You cannot verify it because they will stop you. Please understand, it is my job to advertise that I'm number 1. It is your job to check whether I stand by what I claim that I do. If you go to any shop, they will say that we sell desi ghee ke laddu. It is your job to identify whether it is desi ghee or dalda or chamde ki charbi. If you go to a goldsmith and give him rub it from 10 sides, why don't you rub these advertisings? There is a difference between what is being advertised and what is inside. There has to be certain amount of congruence between what I present through this video and what I conduct in the class. So compare. Today there is so much of infrastructure available, IT infrastructure. Google them, get the details, go through the video, see the video, compare the video, and then decide, take a conscious decision. So there's convert scalar effort into vector effort. देखो, when you go to a doctor, आप अपने नजर का इलाज करा सकते हो. When you go to a doctor, you can get your eyes treated, but the doctor cannot treat your nazariya. If you're wearing red glasses, everything in the world will be appearing red. Doctor cannot treat it. You will have to change your nazariya. And to change your nazariya, you must introspect. Unless you introspect, you will be lost. So one of my job is to help you change your nazariya, दृष्टिकोण, जीवन को देखने का दृष्टिकोण. और SSB का ये जो ट्रेनिंग है मलमूत्र, इसे चेंज करने का. I know it's not easy because people have already established banyan trees countrywide. They're so deep rooted. सबके साइक में घुसेड़ दिया है. ना कि दिल्ली और चंडीगढ़ में नंबर 1 कोचिंग सेंटर्स की भरमार है. Proved the कांग्रेस का banyan tree. It's that difficult, but that's okay. But I think if you can collaborate with me, I can do this job much more easier. It has to be uprooted. They have to change. They must change. They must change. They cannot do it anymore. They should not. So that's the aim. So what I have to tell you is that in the process of explaining this, the number 1 ISO certified coaching center, they have been able to get ISO certification. I don't have an ISO certification. Neither I have got 45% success rate in stage 2 and 90% success in stage 1. I cannot. Don't even bother how much are they, because I'm not focusing there. But what I'm focusing is, can I help you think correctly? Can I help you to take appropriate decision both in life and SSB? Can I improve your analytical skills? Can I improve your observational skills? Can I improve your reasoning skills? Can I improve your decision making skills? Can I improve your judgment? Can I identify certain weaknesses in you and help you to get over that? This is what I'm focusing. So I'm not target oriented, I'm process oriented. Target oriented मतलब लक्ष्य है SSB को क्रैक करना. But in my case, I have built up to yourself to such a level that when you go to the SSB, they are compelled to get you recommended. That's my approach. And मुझे इसमें ISO certificate तो मेरे पास नहीं है जैसे बाकी लोगों के पास है. Neither I am number 1 in the country, nor I have got 45% clearance in the SSB. I got some beautiful clearance rate, but definitely it can never be 45 because that's false claim. Neither I have got 95% stage 1 clearance. Was a possible नहीं. How can I claim all those things? That's all stupidity. But मैं जो कुछ भी कर रहा हूँ, DIPR के director has definitely said this is what probably is required to fill the perception gap. So no ISO certification with me. You have to take a call. वो जाता ही नहीं है. Army headquarters told that Armed Forces Officer Selection Orientation Program has to be taken as a counter to the conventional SSB coaching. Point number 2A and B, assisted introspection for non-recommended candidates. So I will request you, if you are liking these videos, please share with your videos. Think it over. सोचो किसके पास जा रहे हो SSB में जाके. What do you want to show? Your capacity to memorize or your capacity to analyze? Please think it over. This is another letter from Major General A.K. Oberoi, who was the previous Additional Director General Recruiting. He was the Army ka recruiting head, not commandant, recruiting ka head. And in para 2 he says, I am in total agreement with you on the poor selection rate of candidates in the SSB. This probably is the main reason for the prevailing shortage of officers in the Army. So they acknowledge what I'm saying. They acknowledge what I'm saying. Para 3 में it says, I have gone through the selection procedure and I feel that we are going too deep into the psychological aspects of the candidates. Yes, we are going too deep into the psychological aspects of the candidates. You cannot come here with ready-made पर्चे रट के, TAT रट के, WAT रट के. ये तुम्हारा बेवकूफ बना रहे हैं. तुम चार्ली कटवा रहे हो अपना. देखो दोबारा मैं पढ़ता हूं. I have gone through the selection procedure and I feel that we are going too deep into the psychological aspects of a candidate. Yes, SSB does go through. They are not tattoos. You cannot do pinky ponky. है ना. लास्ट में पैरा 4 में लिखता है, along with the concepts evolved by you. है ना. That's me. Please do look at the ways and means to select the best available man in the least possible time. And I am doing these things through these videos. Even I have a commercial interest, but मेरे पास there is a sincerity in my purpose, and I'll make sure that मैं एक भी बात आपको गलत नहीं बताऊंगा इस वीडियो के थ्रू. That's a promise. मेरे पीछे देखो भगवान का फोटो भी लगा हुआ है. भगवान की सौगंध, एक भी बात गलत नहीं बताऊंगा. Now this is a letter from headquarters Pune Siberia. It has been addressed to me and it says a team of officers are required to enlighten the students in BMCC Bharatiya Vidyapit Pune University. So this is addressed to me and officially I'm conducting these classes for in and around Pune. So any one of you, any school or college, any student or any professor or the training and placement officer, anyone who is coordinating this, you can contact me at 82755777650. You can WhatsApp me on this number, or you can also email me at afosop@gmail.com, and I'll do the needful. I've been going to Sainik School Satara since last 5 years, Sainik School Balachadi, Sainik School Nalanda, Sainik School Chittorgarh, a lot of other places, Army Institute of Technology and all those things. So in case if you also wish, you are most welcome to contact me. Now, one piece of information. Now, AFOSOP Leadership and Personality Development Program, we have, you can be given what I'm covering in those things. So I'm giving you the schedule. Now, these workshop anyone can attend, even if you're going through some kind of SSB coaching in any other coaching center, even if it is in Pune, MG Road mein ho ya Senapati Bapat Road ho ya wherever you are. You are most welcome to attend this free workshop. No charges, no compulsions, no commitment. Come, watch, and these are the schedules. Date. It's each on. These are on Monday. So 17 July, that is just tomorrow. We will have the program Lifeline Analysis and Understanding the Self. Self को समझना बहुत जरूरी है. Only तब आप self description को लिख पाओगे. 24th July, that is the Monday, next Monday. I did a couple of them, but we do it quite in detail there. And then we'll see where are we lacking and how much we have and what is the modality to work. And next is 31st July को है sharpening the decision making and conflict resolution skills. Decision making मतलब reasoning ability, analytical skills, observational skills, and decision making मतलब evaluation, judgment and implementation. Conflict resolution, when you have two conflicting choices, how do you take decisions? So we will not do any ready-made कुछ भी नहीं दूंगा, but we will develop decision making models. We'll work on that. Case studies we'll do. Next is on 7th August, it is identifying strength and weakness. We'll do something called SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity and threat. This is also part of the self-description. What are your strengths and weaknesses and which qualities? If your goals are clear, where will you go? If there's a ship which has no rudder, no direction, where will it go? If a train does not know where to go, where will it go? So we'll see that. 21st August को identifying and improving emotional response pattern, emotional intelligence. I can attitude is more important than IQ, so we'll be doing that. 20th August को identifying and clearing contents in Q3, Zohari window. Assisted introspection part 2 mein there is this concept Zohari window where communication model was explained Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Q3 is the hidden area. So what are the garbage that you're holding? Sada hua aloo. We'll clean that on that day, so you can come. 4th September, make mind your best friend. That's a power of concentration. There's a video by the name Power of Concentration. How to stabilize your mind. Psychological class mein, how to eliminate waste thoughts, negative thoughts and toxic thoughts. There was that video, please watch that. Next on 11th September, it is development of congruence in communication. What is congruence? जो आप सोचते हो, जो आप बोलते हो, जो आप करते हो, इनमें जुड़ाव कैसे लाना है? You can only bring जुड़ाव when you work on your inner value system. वरना आप सोचोगे कुछ, बोलोगे कुछ, करोगे कुछ. कर्मा वाचा मानसा. And what we will do through these videos are, we'll try and analyze the gaps, and in gap को identify करके, I told you, if you remember, change management for SSB and life, 3 things. First circle, what to change, knowledge, what to change, why to change, and what are the consequences if you don't change. So that will be first component. Second component is the skills to change. How do I bring about this change? And the third is the willpower, Ichha Shakti to change. So registration is mandatory. You can, to register, you can call me at 82755777650, WhatsApp me on this number, or you can mail me at afosop@gmail.com. It's complete free seminar from morning 9:30 to evening 5, and I will request you to share with your friends. And I'm sure this will tremendously benefit you. Once you identify this gap, then you can go to any coaching center and ask them, sir, please help me to fill this. Don't fill it by writing TAT. TAT writing will not improve your personality, but when your personality improves, the response will automatically change. So please understand that. And finally, I hope this presentation has been useful to you. There were 2 ways of thinking. One is the AFOSOP approach to training, the other is Malmud training for the actual SSB or the perceived SSB. If you like this, please press the like button. Do post your comments. Your comments are encouraging are the only encouragement to me. Do subscribe and share this channel with your friends. If you have question, you can also ask at prapaton.com ka AFOSOP channel, and I'll reply you through videos. And fresh batch starts every Monday, and if you're interested in joining, you can contact me at 827-557-650. You can WhatsApp me on this number, or you can also email me at afosop@gmail.com. And if you want the other parts of this perception management series to be made, you can post me your comments and tell me what area you want to color, what are the perception gaps that are existing, what are the make suitable videos for that. My job is to bridge this gap. Only then you will be able to perform, and this deficiency can be addressed. Also, in the subsequent video, we'll see how to bridge this gap based on your comments. Thank you, and I hope these videos are helping you. God bless you. Thank you.